Hello, hello. Okay, this is hello, hello. Can we put it a little bit low? Yes. Good afternoon. So yeah, my name is Zaidos, but I didn't came here to talk about me. I came here to talk about things that I have discovered in life. By these beautiful things of life, I have been granted with the gift of traveling. I have been so far in 77 countries. I have worked with people in each one of these countries. Only with this year, I have trained already over 3,000 people, and we are in April, going from China to India, from Belgium to Spain, Italy. I was in Italy, 3 weeks ago? I just came from Germany. And I started this path when I was 20 years old. Today I'm 23. I have been 23 for the last 5 years, so it's a little bit boring. On 11th of May this year, I'm turning 21. I cannot wait to turn 5 back. And it is not because I'm scared of age. It is not about the biological age. It is about the spiritual one. It is about what I feel inside. It is about the excitement that I have every morning when I wake up, and I just, somebody said in this stage today, Europe needs of the people that are not scared of waking up early. And I believe on that. It is so beautiful in the morning when I open my eyes and I just jump out of bed. The first thing that I do is I do my bed. I religiously do my bed so that I feel that my day is starting as supposed to. I hate when people say, thanks God it's Friday. If your life is about thanks God it's Friday, then think twice, because I don't know what what are you doing? I need to take a break here. I have a very dirty mouth. I hope that this doesn't come back again. Oh. So I came to talk about popcorn. This is this beautiful kernel where popcorn comes from, right? It is this beautiful thingy that has this beautiful shiny surface, and is so useless until it's not popcorn. I mean, what do you do with that? I mean, we're talking about the pulse of innovation, so we can actually put kernels inside the shoes of people that we don't like, so that when they put their shoes, then something happens, right? That is an innovative way of taking a look at a kernel. But at the end of the day, it's just that. It is that beautiful shiny shell, strong, that holds inside this puffy, whitey, enjoyable thing that we call popcorn. And I want to argue that during my 20-something years of working with people, living together, exploring possibilities, one of the common trends I have found from Africa to the Middle East, from China to Brazil, from the United States to Belgium, it is ungiven love. It is just that. I feel so bad, and people come to me for life coaching. I feel that I don't know what's happening. I'm full of anger, and I react to people. And when I go into the deepness of those conversations with these people, no matter the culture, where that leads us, it is to this huge pressure inside that shell because of ungiven love. Typical things that I hear: I'm not an emotional person, which, by the way, biologically speaking, is impossible. Go back to biology 1.1. I don't like being touched. That is such a... I need to change the word. Who doesn't like to be touched? It's just not true. And we want to perfect this shell, and we want to polish this shell, and we want to make it stronger. And then the pressure inside keeps on building. But that starch inside that shell, inside that kernel, it has been designed by life to pop. Otherwise, popcorn will not exist. If the kernel was not designed by life itself to pop, it will not pop. Why popcorns pop? I'm going to make it simple. I'm not going to go into complicated language. Let's imagine that there is a little drop of water inside each kernel. It is not a drop of water. I'm oversimplifying to make it digestible. It is there. It is lying there. It's protected by the hardness of the shell, and it's there. And every time that you put that kernel close to heat, that little tiny drop of water evaporates into steam. And if you know principal basic things, you know that when water turns into steam, expands. And that's why popcorn pop when we put it into heat. That happens to us as well. When I get into the heat of a conversation with somebody else, and I feel that I don't like what I'm getting, I start doing this with my leg. That is that little drop that is inside expanding. And I release that by saying, you need to change words again. And then I attack. And I defend. And I feel offended. Key words for me, key questions that have changed my life. Every time that I feel defensive, I ask myself, what am I defending? Ask yourselves that next time that you feel that you are defending. What am I defending? And you will see how so many times you are defending nothing. Because there is nothing that needs to be defended there. Why am I feeling offended? Because somebody else, look at me. I'm not like the typical stereotype of the person that you find on the streets. And I just moved from Lisbon to this little village in the north of Lisbon. And when I walk on the streets of this city, village, town, people look at me like, and I just turn to them and I say, hey, how are you? And then they laugh more. And then they come and they say, hi. Instead of me saying, these stupid people, why do they cannot mind their own business, blah, blah, blah. Why am I feeling offended? There is no offense if I don't get offended. And it is about working that heat. And it's about not running away from that heat. When I enter into a conversation that challenges me, am I going to run away from that? To my safe space, don't touch me, my shell, beautiful, polish. That is not the purpose. I choose to believe that that is not the purpose of my existence. This is the purpose of my existence, to pop. To let that shell crack. And it is a painful process. It is already scientifically proved that emotions truly cause physical pain. But it is about staying there for a while and change the inner speech and letting crack that shell that most of us didn't decide to have, but we learned to have. Because we had to be good enough to please our parents, to get the good grade, to fit in. And it's about protecting that shell and staying there in the same shape. Peter Sheehan said, shame becomes fear. Fear leads to risk aversion. Risk aversion kills innovation. We are here to talk about the pulse of innovation. I'm not going to tell you how to innovate, but I want to show you what can kill innovation. And what can kill innovation is shame. Brené Brown, in her book, Daring Greatly, she pretty clearly explains the whole thing, so I'm not going to dig deep into that. I'm going to share my personal side of this. I grew up as a small, beautiful, little gay kid in Rubio in Venezuela in the 70s and 80s, when was that unthinkable of. That was devastating. I was not doing something bad. I was not having sexual relationships. I was 5, 6, 7 years old. I was not doing something bad, what is explained as guilt. I was fundamentally flawed, and that is shame. And every time that I felt that heat coming in and people calling me names, I became strong and I attacked, and I reached this moment in my life and I could see somebody at their eyes and make them crumble into pieces. I was strong and big and lonely and miserable. And it was working that shame and telling to myself, I'm beautiful the way I am, but it started to change everything. And then the fear was gone, and the aversion to risk was gone. And I got into a moment in my life in which I was able to design an innovative way of living life. I live in Portugal in a beautiful house in front of the Atlantic Ocean. I wake up every morning and run to my balcony to see the ocean. There is absolutely nothing between my window and the ocean. I pay half of the rent that I used to pay in Lisbon. I welcome people into my house, and we plant together coriander and parsley in the backyard. I have a beautiful dog. We have conversations about life. There are people in this room that have been in that house for New Year's Eve. We don't drink alcohol to have fun. We redefine the whole way of what it is to be in community, common unity. And that is an innovative lifestyle that I was able to design the day that I cracked that shell, because I stopped feeling shameful. And then I started popcorning my way through. I have 5 minutes, and I have 5 pops that I want to share with you from this experience. Number 1, nobody wants a kernel. I can offer you a kernel, only one. Do you want a kernel? Maybe you can make music with that, right? I'm sure.
I lost it.
I will give you more. The secret of kernels is to make popcorn. We were born. I choose to. I'm not stating truths in this stage. I'm stating my current truth. I choose to believe we were born to be more than a kernel. At the end of the day, there is another part of this. It doesn't matter if you are the freshest popcorn ever created and you are salty or sweet or with butter. There will always be somebody that hates popcorn. So let it go. The second pop, self-talk is the human heat. It is not what comes from outside, but how I take it from there. It is not the eyes of the judge on top of me saying whatever they are saying. It is what I choose to tell to myself when I see those eyes. And I move from a place in which I feel judged by people to a place in which when I see those eyes, I see curiosity. And then I go and say, hey, how are you? I noticed you were looking at me. Overheating will burn you. If you put kernels in the microwave and you put them for too long, they will burn. They will pop and they will burn. If you make popcorn in a pot, you have to put the fire in slow fire. If you put the fire too intense, they will burn. It is the same with us. If we stay with anger inside us, it burns. Nothing will pop. And there is not about releasing it by calling names others. There is about changing that inner speech that regulates the heat. One more question that I ask to myself and I ask to people around me. What is it about them that is not about them, but it is about me? Each kernel has its time. Oh, I have this beautiful friend, and now she's so happy, and then I'm so frustrated because we used to go into university, and now how is it possible that she's doing this, and I'm not doing that, and I'm so unlucky, and she's lucky, and this is unfair, and blah, 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 blah. Chill, dude, chill. Each kernel has its time. Listen to what is happening inside you, and you will find your own time. It took me years to find my time. That's why I'm 23 now. And finally, when it's over, it's over. If we leave the popcorn, you know how it goes. You put it in the microwave, and you wait, and you wait. And suddenly, out of the blue, pop. Pop, 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 pop. Done. Take it out. The greed of waiting for the last kernel to pop will... I need to change words. You know what I mean. It will destroy the whole pot of popcorn that you had. But if you take them too soon, you will also have a bunch of kernels that could be popcorns. How do we find that specific time when the time is right? I love something I heard in this stage today. Time has its own rhythm, and we have our own rhythm to time. I'm no one to tell you what your rhythm is. My question is, are you listening to your own rhythm? Or are you just dancing life at the rhythm of somebody else? This is what popcorn is for me. And this is what I'm not struggling to do anymore. But this is what I'm doing. And I want to close by extending an invitation to each and every one of you to understand that living life with an open heart is not a fluffy thing to do. And I cannot understand that for you. What I can do is to humbly stand up here to tell you that it has made a difference in my life. Thank you very much.